Welcome back to the channel. Well, we've been asked several times how we set up our live bait tank aboard Toadfish 2, which is a Warrior 165 powered by a Suzuki DF80 horsepower engine. So I thought, why not do a little video on it? Okay, several points to consider before you go strapping a considerable amount of weight to a small setup. To be honest, this isn't really designed for commercial bass fishing. This is purely for recreational small boating, sort of 14 to 17 foot boats. So the first point to consider, do you have significant horsepower on a small setup to be able to lift one of these filled to capacity? When you consider a single gallon of water weighs 10 pounds in weight, but by the time you fill one of these, including bait, you've got this thing sloshing around on the back of the boat. You have to make sure you've got considerable amount of horsepower to lift and plane the boat effectively. You may be okay in sheltered bays, but once you start to venture offshore in any sort of sea, these can significantly alter the handling of your small vessel. Just something to consider, that's all. Okay, let's jump into the parts list. Firstly, you're going to need one of these. A manual bilge pump, 12 volt, 360 gallons an hour, more than enough. We're going to be mounting this on the stern, so you need a transom mounting bracket. Just make sure you've got the correct one. Obviously the new ones come with an oval base, so you need the actual oval mount to match it. This is what we're going to use for the inlet pipe, which is a 25mm clear braided hose. You get this stuff from any chandlers. Don't use cheap pipe, it'll kink, and it's quite nasty stuff. I've had this over a decade and it's absolutely immense and it won't kink on you. Okay, the outlet pipe, the same stuff again, the clear braided stuff. This time, which is a 50mm. And we're going to use some 50mm stainless Jubilee clips on either end. There's no place for mild steel at this end. The salt water will completely destroy it. We've got some 2-core flex, which we're going to use to power the thing up. I'll speak about that later on in the video. Also, how to wire the switch panel. We're going to need a couple of Aquaflex bends. You're going to need a bung to go in the bottom of the tank, so at the end of the day it'll make it a lot easier to drain the water. And one of these little things, I think I picked this up in a caravan shop. Obviously the idea is when you've got small fish like scad, mackerel and sand eels, they can escape through the 2-inch bore. By placing that on the end, it ensures you don't lose half your live sand eel, which you just paid for. Tube of CT1 or Sikaflex. Okay, and last but not least, we're going to need one of these things, a witch's hat, which we're going to mount in the splash well to take the inlet pipe neatly. I'll show you the detail of that a little bit later on in the video. Okay, so we've got our parts. Let's look where we're going to site the live bait tank. Okay, we sat at the stern of the boat. We can make up the transom. That little thing there is a skin fitting, which I've drilled through and sealed that with Sikaflex. The inlet pipe comes through a 2-inch hole there, which I'll seal with a witch's hat from the outside. So there you go, that's your inlet pipe and your outlet. All we need now is to site the tank. Okay, so we've got the tank sited just next to the transom. Just get in as close as I can on the outlet pipe detail. As I said, there's your 50mm clear braided hose, and we've got 2 stainless steel marine grade Jubilee clips. I'm just going to give those a little nip up. You don't have to over tighten them, just enough. Both, just to give a good seal on the outlet pipe. There we go. That is going nowhere. To show you the detail inside, got a little bung at the bottom, so you can undo at the end of the day and let the water out. It's quite difficult to get the water out otherwise. And that little gizmo that I explained earlier is going to be stuck over the outlet pipe with a little bit of Sikaflex or CT1. As I did explain, that bore is large enough for mackerel, scad and sand eels to escape. Trust me, it's happened several times to us. Okay, so that's the inside detail complete. There we go. What I do like about these big granular tubs is the lids. You can snap them shut, bang, and that's going absolutely nowhere. So the flap detail, we've got 2 nylon hinges with stainless steel screws. Again, no place for mild steel with salt water, it'll just absolutely destroy them. Just a little lid to access the live bait. Just go through the top mount detail. There's another skin fitting which I drilled in. There's a little nylon washer, there's no sealant needed on that one. I do like a top loader because it does create a lot of air bubbles to keep your catch nice and fresh. Okay, so we've got an inlet hose all married up to the skin fitting, 25mm Jubilee clip, stainless. Give that a little nip up. That's not too tight again, just enough. And that completes our detail. Okay, we'll just go through that once again. 50mm outlet pipe, 2 stainless steel Jubilee clips, 1 skin fitting and a skin fitting on the tank. The inlet hose, 25mm braided clear, 25mm Jubilee clip and 1 skin fitting. So that's our live bait tank all set up. Just need to show the stern detail. We're right on the transom. Let's look at this in as much detail as we can. So firstly, I've sighted this nylon bracket which I shaped with the use of a template and a router to suit the chines of the boat, and just took a little round off the edges. That's resin bonded, that's stuck on there, going absolutely nowhere. It's a lot easier when you're sighting things like transducer mounts and any different type of paraphernalia. It saves screwing into the back of the transom all the time. Okay, there's our transom mounting bracket for our rule made pump. This is the older type, which is cylindrical. The new ones are oval. Just make sure you've got the correct bracket. They're quite difficult to source, these things, but they are available. 360 gallons an hour bilge pump. Sits nicely in there. With a bit of luck, we can snap that in, and that is as strong as you're going to get. So coming from there, we've got a 25mm Jubilee clip, ultra flex bend, 25mm braided pipe, put all the way back up into the transom to the witch's hat. There we go, 1 transom mounted bilge pump ready to feed the live tank setup. One last thing, the witch's hat. I'm going to change that one when I do the steering cable. I can't get it out yet because the engine has to come off with this particular model to change the cable. So the brand new witch's hat will be mounted there. Okay, one final point. How is the whole thing powered up? There's your 2-core cable, the positive and negative leads, 12 volt. The only drawback with these, they come with a really short piece of flex which just about gets inside the boat. So I'll show you how to join that up to finish off. Okay, so we've got our 12-volt bilge pump, 360 gallons an hour. As I explained previously in the video, they come with this really short piece of flex. So we're just going to make a little join just to extend it. Just going to crimp that up. That's the positive cable connected. I've just got these little 5 amp connectors. Just nip that up. That's the negative lead connected. I just slid a little bit of shrink tube up just to cover those. Just going to apply a little bit of heat, not too much. Shrink that down in no time. Same on the positive. Got another little piece of heat shrink to go over the top. This is the glue type. If you can get the glue type, it just creates for a better seal for any water ingress into that cable. Just see that slight offset. You know, the purists among us will say, oh, that's got to be soldered. If you are going to solder those connections, just slightly offset them. So when you do put the shrink tube on, there's a lot of compression on the shrink tube and it can cause a short if you've got a sharp edge on your solder and it pierces through. That's why we always use the crimp connections. Never had any trouble using them. Okay, let's shrink that down. Now, that is going nowhere. Okay, so that's the flex extended. Okay, so we got the bilge pump, the extension, however much flex you want is required. Okay, let's show the switch detail and connectivity to the battery. Let's have a quick look at the detail on the back of the switch panel, which are on most small boats. So we got the live feed coming in from the battery, from the positive. That's feeding the main block of fuses. And we've got the positive lead coming from the bilge pump to the switch. You can just about make it out is that one. All the earths run via piggybacks, and that runs back either to a single termination on the battery or alternatively an earth bus. Turn him over. That should work. There we go. Power. Nice and simple. Okay, I'll just run through this version quickly. A single switch setup. Same again. Positive lead coming out of the battery via this little fuse holder to the positive connection on the switch, and then coming out of the switch to on the feed that goes to the pump, and the third termination is the negative going back to the negative terminal on the battery. Let's just get up and as close as we can. Question is, does it all work? There we go. Switch on, switch off, switch on. There we go. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the video and found some of it helpful. Don't forget, any questions, if you drop them in the comment section below, we'd be happy to help. And don't forget, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, drop in a subscription and a like, we're much appreciated. See you on the next trip. Bye for now. There we go. one fully loaded live bait tank. What we need now is some fish.